up your engine! Look what I've done to my Celica. It's transformed. Check out the front end. Check out the new wheels. The great paint job. Check out the giant exhaust. But sadly, I haven't modified my 94 Celica. This is a customer's car he bought. Indeed, it's a 1994 Celica, but it is a GT4 Celica. Toyota made these rally Celica, turbocharged. They're all-wheel drive. They only made 2,500 of these 94 Celicas because they had to make that many in order to be a production car that could be used in rally racing. Now, he just bought this thing for about $15,000. You said, well, who would pay that kind of money for an old Celica? Well, in this case, he got a pretty good deal. Now, I had a friend in Australia that bought one of these new in 1994. He paid 78,000 Australian dollars, which at the time, with Australian dollars being worth less than American dollars, was 58,500 American dollars for this car when it was new. Now, this beautiful car was imported directly from Japan by these guys in Houston that do it for a living. Check this out. Since it's a Japanese car, its course is right-hand drive. As you can see, feels weird to me. It only has 80,000 kilometers on it. So that's a little bit over 49,000 miles. You might say, how can a 94 car that old only have that mileage? Well, in Japan, they don't drive their cars that much. And under the classic car rules of the United States, this car's now 25 years old or older. It can be imported to the United States direct and sold. And you don't have to worry about all kinds of taxes and anti-pollution stuff that have to be added on. So these things are now coming over here. And when you consider, back in the day, that friend of mine paid 78,000 Australian dollars for a new one, to get a beautiful car like this for $15,000 US today, just by inflation alone, what 1994 dollars are worth today, this would be a $108,000 car if it was brand new. But really, it's only got like 48,000 miles on it. Man, this thing is a beautiful car. I sure wish it was mine. Let's check under the hood. Well, you notice it's radically different. It has the rally engine. To begin with, this is a 2,000 cc instead of the 1,800 in mine, and it is a twin entry turbo. This baby puts out 252 horsepower, a long way from my 94 Celica. Hey, mine's fun to drive, but it only puts out 110 horsepower. This thing's a screamer. Now, it also has a 5-speed standard transmission, but it has Toyota All-Track front and rear wheel drive for rallying. So even though it looks the same inside here with a 5-speed standard transmission, it has Toyota's insanely intricate all-track, all-wheel drive system. The system has 5 main parts: the front differential, the rear differential, the center differential, the transmission, and the transfer case to transfer power front to rear. And it even has a central differential lock, so you can lock it so the front and the rear wheels have the same speed going on the shafts. It is a fascinating bit of technological marvelry. But at the same time, it's a Toyota. And guess what? It may be a 94, but everything on it still works perfectly fine. The engine doesn't burn oil. The AC still blows freezing cold, even though it's got crazy Celsius instead of Fahrenheit readings. And yes, it's a Japanese car, so the speedometer is in kilometers. It doesn't even have the little ones that say miles an hour, so you gotta keep transferring that in your head. And I do have to say, it's weird shifting a car with my left hand. When we go down to the pedals, they're still the same. The left pedal is still the clutch, the middle one's still the brake, and the right one is still the accelerator. So at least that's not backwards. I would have had the accelerator pedal with the left foot, and the brake in the middle, and the clutch on the right-hand side. I don't know what I would have done. But at least it's still the same. You're driving the same. You're just shifting with your left hand, which you can get used to pretty quickly. And the steering wheel still looks pretty good, you know? Even though it's on the wrong side, on the right side. You got to be careful when you're passing people, of course. People make poo-poo plastic radiators, but guess what? This baby's still the original one. It's a 94, and it's not leaking. And being a Celica hatchback, hey, it's got all that marvelous space. Check it out. You got all this room, still got the top. You can flip the seats forward if you want to and have even more space. It's a regular old Celica hatchback. Only it's one that you can drive like a maniac if you want to. So let's check it out. So away we go. Oops, wrong side. I keep forgetting it's a Japanese car. One must enter on the right. And as with any Toyota, you turn the key, what happens? Starts right up. And for the zingin' rally car, no shaking, smooth as can be. And guess what? It still corners fantastic. This is a fun car to drive. Let's rev it up a little and see what she's got. It gets up and goes. Now I do have to admit my driving technique is a bit off on this because I'm holding a camera with one hand and then I'm shifting with the wrong hand, so I could do a lot better if I had a cameraman with me, but hey, that's life. I drive solo. Now it is a typical Celica. I mean, it's a bumpy ride. And this is set up for rally racing, so it's not the smoothest ride. And they're plastic cars, so you hear a lot of creaks and, of course, the brakes squeak, but hey, it really is fun to drive. No one's around, so let's try that takeoff again. And just realize, it is a rally car. It's not a full-blown race car. But you want a classic sports car, and this really is a sports car. 250-something horsepower. In this beautiful shape, paid $15,000 to the guy who imported it from Japan. You can't beat a car like this. And for those not in the know, it's a real sleeper. They'll say, oh look, it's a little Celica. You know, they got 110 horsepower. Then they find out this one's got 250 horsepower in it. And it has Toyota All-Track that can handle any terrain. Now, of course, the All-Track isn't for off-roading. It's got low clearance. This isn't an off-road vehicle. Although with front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive, and that center diff lock where you can make them all go the same, you're never going to get stuck in the rain or snow. It's certainly going to be able to make it through anything. But to get a beautiful looking car like this with 49,000 original miles, and yes, that is the original paint job. It's never been touched up. Even the cloth interior's not ripped. The Japanese obviously take care of their cars. Who knows, maybe I'll offer him 20 grand for it and try to take it off his hands. I don't think he'd take it though. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Well, speaking of electric cars, Tesla just says they're lowering the price of their Model S, their flagship one, right? But here's the rub. The list price is $94,000 for the fancy Model S, and they're lowering it to $91,900. Not that much of a lowering. Well, if you really want to buy a Tesla and save money, do like one of my neighbors did down the street. He bought a used Model S. He bought one with only 15,000 miles. So obviously he's got a lot of life left, right? It's only got 15,000 miles on it. Well, guess what he paid? He paid $44,000 for it. The one that he bought, the guy had paid well over $100,000 for it brand new. And with 15,000 miles, he bought it for $44,000. So, you really want to save money on Tesla, don't buy one of their new ones. Ooh, they knocked $3,000 off of a $94,000 car. Whoopsie-doo. You want to save money, buy a used one. Now, of course, Tesla doesn't say why they're lowering the price of their Model S models. Well, guess what? Competition. That's what it comes down to. There's a bunch of other people coming out with cars. He can't charge whatever he wants, and they're still way overpriced cars. Especially when you see what the resale value is. Hey, buy a used one if you really got to get one of those things. I mean, whew, the guy paid like 1/3 of what the original price was buying it used with only 15,000 miles on it. And they're electric cars. You know, electric cars don't have the problem of transmissions wearing out. They don't have transmissions. They just use electric motors. Much simpler vehicles when it comes down to how they actually operate, of course. Tesla makes them really complicated with all the software and stuff, but basically they're electric battery and a motor. So they should last quite some time. So buying a used one is a lot less of a gamble than it is buying a high-performance gasoline car with a transmission that's computer electronically controlled, and the guys beat the heck out of it and they brake. These, hey, the only thing that's really being strained is the electric motors. So their electric motors are pretty strong, and if they go, you can always put new electric motors in. But still, lower it from, 94.9 to 91.9. Not really that much of a difference. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.